Good morning, sixth grade. How you guys doing? This is Mr. Hunt again. This is Tuesday's broadcast coming to you live or recorded. All right. So today I want to talk to you a little bit more about frequency tables. We kind of started on them last week, but today's objective is create a frequency table based on a set of data. Identify appropriate or equal intervals for frequency tables. Create a relative frequency table for a set of data as well. We're going to focus on creating the frequency table and identifying the intervals in the frequency table. Tomorrow we'll work on going from a regular frequency table to a relative frequency table. Okay. So here we go. It says right here, a frequency table is a chart that shows the popularity or mode of a certain type of data. A frequency table shows the number of times a data value occurred. We were looking at things like, how many people jumped 10 inches? How many people jumped 7 inches? So how many times did this appear? So frequency table, once again, shows you the number of times that a data value occurs, okay? When we have a lot of data, we use intervals or ranges to group the data. So today we're going to work on putting that data or information into ranges. So let's say that I have a bunch of kids that jumped 5 to 6 inches. I have a bunch of kids that jumped 11 to 12 inches. I have a bunch of kids that jumped 20 through 24 inches. Okay. So I would want to do those in ranges instead of me doing, how many jump 1 inch? How many jump 2 inches? How many jump 3? How about I say, how many jump 1 to 5 inches? How many jump 6 through 10 inches? So this will be my range, my interval. I'm not just going to look at 1 inch and then look at 2 inches. I'm going to look at the total amount that jumped from 1 to 5 inches. Okay. So we're going to look at that now. Some things we need to know. When deciding on your intervals, we must first make sure that the intervals cover the whole range of data values. So we looked at people that jump from 3 to 10 inches. When we pick our intervals, we have to make sure that we're covering all the numbers that are between 3 and 10. So if I'm looking at numbers from 3 to 10, I would pick a range of maybe 1 to 10 because 1 to 10 will cover anything that's between 3 and 10. I can pick 1 to 20 because 1 to 20 will cover any numbers that are between 3 and 10. Okay. Also, the intervals, number 2, are equal or with the same width. We're going to talk about that more. There is no gap space, no gap/space between the intervals. What do I mean? If you are saying that, Mr. Hunt, I'm going to look at all the numbers between 1 and 5. I'm going to look at the numbers between 6 and 10. I'm going to look at the numbers between 11 and 15. I'm going to look at the numbers between 16 and 20. You are doing intervals of 5, 1 through 5, 6 through 10, 11 through 15, 16 through 20. You're looking at intervals of 5. Now, if you say, Mr. Hunt, I'm going to do intervals of 5, but then you say 1 through 5, and then you say 7 to 10, there's a space. The gap is you said 1 to 5 and then 7 to 10. There's something missing. What's missing is 6. So you have a gap or space in between your intervals. I can't say, I'm going to look at 1 to 5 and then do 8 to 10 and then do 11 to 15. Once again, there's a gap there. I forgot 6 and 7. Now, also, they have to be equal. So if you're saying I'm doing 1 to 5, 6 through 10, those are intervals of 5. So the intervals are intervals of 5. You can't say, Mr. Hunt, I'm going to do 1 to 5, which is an interval of 5. Then I'm going to say, I'm going to change it to 6 to 7. You're going intervals of 5, then intervals of 2. No, it has to be the same. 1 to 5, 6 through 10, 11 through 15, 16 through 20, okay? Those are intervals of 5. If you want to go intervals of 2s, then you would say 1 to 2, 3 to 4, 4 to 5 to 6, 7 to 8. Those are intervals of 2, okay? Now, so let's look at it again. It must cover the whole range of data values. The intervals are equal or with the same width. There is no space or gap between intervals, and there must be at least 2 intervals, okay? Now, also, to determine the number of intervals, I'm going to give you a little formula to use, okay? And basically, decide the width of your class of your intervals. Decide the width of the class of the intervals that you want to have. I want to do intervals of 5, okay? I want to do intervals of 2. I want to do intervals of 3, okay? Now, once you know that, you divide the range that your numbers cover, that your data set cover by the chosen width of your intervals to determine the number of intervals. I'm going to explain that a little bit further. Okay. Now, here we go. We have here a frequency. We have a data table. We have data. It says the title of the table is Swim Teams Practice Laps. So one person, there's a particular person that did 10 laps. Another person did 12, another person did 16, another person did 6, another person did 10. So these are all the different amount of laps that different people did, okay? Now, we charted all this information. Imagine we had a pool that kept us in, and I told 20 kids, I want you to jump in the pool and give me some laps, okay? And one person, Jair, did 10, okay? Antonia did 15, okay? And let's say DeMonte did 6, okay? Or he did 20. So now I'm keeping track of every student and how many laps they do. But first of all, notice that I have information on 20 people. Well, 5 times 4. There are 5 across in 4 rows. So 5 times 4 will be 20. So I have information on 20 people. Now, it says determine the number of intervals. So I'm looking at, first of all, this is the key for determining the number of intervals. First of all, looking at my data, the lowest that someone swam is right here, 3. The highest amount of laps that someone did, I see 16, I see 17, see 18, 19. So it looks like my data goes between 3 laps all the way up to 19. It doesn't go to 20. It goes from 3 to 19. Now, so the highest value is 19 right here. What is the lowest value? So I'm doing this to determine what my intervals are going to be. But first, I need to know what is my range of data. My laps, or just like the kids that jump a certain amount of inches, what is the range? So I'm going from 3 laps all the way to 19. So it looks like I'm going to be covering numbers 3 to 19. Well, because that seems like an odd set for me, I'm going to say that I'm going to cover 1 through 20. Okay? Even though I don't have any kids that did 1 lap or 2 laps. Okay? Or I can say I'm going to cover 1 to 100. But why would I say I'm going to cover 1 to 100 when the highest number of laps I have is 19? So you can say, I'm going to cover 1 to 25. I'm going to cover 1 to 20. You could say you're going to cover 1 to 30, even though you stop at 19. So here we go. What is the range of the data set? Number 3. So my highest value is 19. My lowest value is 3. What is the range? My range goes from 3 to 19, but I prefer to say 1 to 20. Why am I saying 1 to 20? Because I know I can break 20s up into 4s. I can break 20 up into 5s. I can break 20 up into 2s. So I'm going to say 1 to 20 because it covers and I could break 20 up evenly, okay? Now, choose the width of your intervals. Because my numbers go from 3 to 19, I'm going to say I want to look at everybody that did from 1 to 20. And then I know that 20 could be divided evenly by 5. 5. And 20 divided by 5 is 4. So my range, I changed it from 1 to 20. That means I have a maximum range. I'm going all the way up to 20. The width of my intervals. How long do you want your intervals to be? I want to look at intervals of 5. What is the width you want your intervals to be? It says, what is the range? 1 to 20. Choose the width of your intervals. Now, if you say, Mr. Hunt, I want my intervals to go in 2. So you would say, I'm doing 1 to 2, 3 to 4, 5 to 6, 7 to 8, 9 to 10. And that's a lot of intervals you're going to have. Me, I don't want that many intervals. So I'm going to say I want the width of them to be 5. And I know 20 divided by 5 is 4. That means I'm going to have 4 intervals, but the intervals are going to cover, the width of my intervals is going to be 5. What am I saying? So if you're looking at 1 to 20, then each interval is going to be intervals of 5. So you are basically saying 1 to 5, 6 to 10, 11 to 15, and 16 to 20. Those are 5s. Get it? Those are 5s. Now, so, okay, we got that information. Let's keep going. Now, so how many people swam between 1 and 5 laps? So the number of laps is here, 1 to 5. The number of laps, 6 to 10. Notice, these are all have a width of 5. That's covering 5 numbers, 6 to 10. That's covering 5 numbers, covering 5 numbers, covering 5 numbers, okay? That's this number right here, this 5 right there. And notice, 20 divided by 5 is 4. I have 4 intervals. Here I have 4 intervals that are 5, that are a width of 5. So how many people swam between 1 and 5 laps? Let's go back up here and look at this. 1 to 5. I have 1 here. I'm going to use this in yellow. Let me go ahead and erase some of this. I'm going to erase this now. So I'm going to do this in yellow to see how many I have that did 1 to 5. 1, 2, 3. If you see any more, let me know if I skip one, but you can't. Okay, now here we go. So I count 3. So I'm going to put right here in yellow 3. I have 3 people that swam 1 to 5 laps. Now, let's go in green and we're going to see, how many people do you have that did 6 to 10 laps? Let's see. 1, 2, 6 to 10, 6 to 10, 6 to 10. Bam, and bam. So I get 1, 2, 3, 4. So I'm going to go here and I'm going to put a 4 and I'm going to put a 4 right there. So I have 4 people that swam 6 to 10 laps. Now, the next one I want to do in blue, and I want you to do it ahead of me. I want you to go and pause the video and do this ahead of me. Go ahead of me. And I want you to count the number of people. How many times do you see someone that did 11 to 15 laps? 11 to 15. So let's go back here in blue. You can pause it and go ahead and do it yourself and then play the video and see if you're correct. And I'm going to pretend that you paused it and I hope that you did. Now, here we go. Now, so looking at this, 11 to 15. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So I get 6. I count, let me scroll down some. I count 6 people that did 11 through 15. I have, is that 6 for real? Hold on for a second. Let me see. 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm sorry, 4 people that did 11 through 15. Not 4, not 16. 11 through 15, hold on. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And 6. There are 6. That's correct. 6. Okay. So there are 6 people that did 11 through 15. 6 people. Okay. Now, let's go ahead and scroll down and put this in here. 6 people. Now, let's look at how many people did in red 16 through 20. And I'm going to scroll down and give you a chance to do it yourself. 16 through 20. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Now, scroll back up. Mr. Hunt counted 7. Let's put that there. So remember, we're at a total of 20 people, correct? So we should have a total of 20 here. 6 plus 7 is 13. 3 plus 4 is 7. 13 plus 7 is 20. So this works out. We counted 20 people. We counted 20 people and we have 20 people. So here we go. Bam, 20 people. Okay. So this is how you would do a frequency table. You have to determine, keep in mind, let's go. So this is my frequency table. This is a check right here in red, but I'm going to erase this. This 20 is just a check. This lets me know that I counted it. I took into account everyone that did their laps. I had 20 students I looked at. There are 20 frequency number. There are 20 numbers there. Okay. 20 people I looked at that did between 1 to 20 laps. My intervals are intervals of 5 because I did 1 to 5, 6 to 10, and 20 divided by 5 gives me 4. That means we're going to have 4 intervals, and the interval is going to be intervals of 5. I have one interval that goes 1 to 5, another interval 6 to 10, another interval 11 to 15. My last interval is 16 to 20. Okay, cool. Here we go. Now let's go. So this is kind of like a check, okay? So the check is, check your work. Did you give your table a title? Yes, right here. Swim team practice laps, okay? Did you decide on the intervals? Are they even? Yes, all my intervals are even because they all go in 5. Not even as an even number, but even as, are they all going by, do they all have the same width? Yes, intervals of 5. 5, 5, 5, 5, 1 to 5, 6 to 10, 11 to 15, 16 to 20. Those are intervals of 5. Okay. If you want to go intervals of 10, then you would say 1 to 10, 11 to 20. Okay. Yes. Do you cover the whole range of your data? Yes. My range is from 1 to 20, but my actual data was 3 to 19 laps. So 1 to 20 does cover 3 to 19. Okay. Is there an overlap? No. Overlap means this. I can't tell you, oh, I'm gonna look at students I'm gonna look how many did 1 to 5 laps. And instead of me doing 6 to 10, I now say I'm gonna do 1 to 5, then I'm gonna do 3 to 20. When you do 1 to 5, and then you're gonna also in your next interval cover 3 to 20, you're covering again what you already did. 3 to 20 has within it 3, 4, and 5. And you already did 1 to 5, so you can't do 3 to 20 now. It's not an even interval, and then it overlaps as well. Okay, now, so let's look at another one. Let's look at the same one, and then the frequency count. How many people did you look at? How many data points did you have? We had 20 people we looked at, so we should have a frequency of 20. It should add up. All of our frequencies should add up to 20, okay? Remember that, let's go back up here. Frequency table is a chart that shows the popularity or mode of a certain type of data. The frequency table shows the number of times that a data value occurs, okay? Now, here we go. That's like me saying, oh, you frequent this place a lot. You go here a lot. You go to North Riverside Mall a lot. That means, oh, how many students go to North Riverside Mall? You're frequenting, okay? Something that occurs a lot, okay? Now, here we go. So I'm going to look at the same information, but I'm going to break it up in a different interval now. So let's look at this. Here's the swim team. Here are all the laps that they did. What is the highest value of data? Now, the highest value of data is 19. I'm going to change something now. What is the lowest value? 3. I'm not changing that. We agreed that the lowest number is 3. The highest number is 19. Okay, we agree with that. Okay, now here we go. What is the range of the data set? I go from 3 to 19. So I need a range that's going to cover 3 to 19. So I'm going to say what covers 3 to 19. Once again, I'm going to use 1 to 20 because I like using 20 because 20 could be broken up evenly. Okay. You can use 1 to 25 and 25 could be broken up by 5s. You could use 1 to 30 and 1 to 30 could be broken up by 10s. Okay. And you can go 1 to 10, 11 to 20, 21 to 30. And that's covering that 3 to 19. Okay. I'm going to use 1 to 20 again, but I'm going to change something. I'm going to choose that my widths are going to be intervals of 10. I want the width of my interval to cover 10 numbers. Okay. So instead of me covering 5 from 1 to 5 and 6 to 10, I'm going to cover intervals of 10. So and within 1 to 20, I'm going to look at 1 to 10. That's a width of 10. And I'm going to look at 11 to 20. That's another width of 10. So my range, once again, is 20. I'm going from up to 20. But the width of my intervals, I'm going to do it in 10s. 1 to 10, 11 to 20. Before, we did with intervals of 5. 1 to 5, 6 to 10, 11 to 15. We're not doing that now. Now I want to look at 10. So let's look at what's going to change. It says that I'm going to have 2 intervals. This determines that I'm going to have 2 intervals. Okay, let's see if that's correct. Oh, look. I'm covering, my width is 10. Doesn't that cover 10? That covers 10, 1 to 10. And this is also 10, 11 to 20. That's 10. But look, I have 2 intervals, 1 and 1. Okay, now, so all of these, so let's see now. How many people, let's do it in blue. How many did 1 to 10 laps? So let's erase all of this. 1 to 10 laps. Let's do this. Here we go. 1. Oh, I'm sorry. Let's count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Let's double check. I get 7. Do you get 7? Okay. Scroll down. And I'm going to put here in blue, I'm going to write 7. I have 7 times I saw someone that did 1 to 5 laps. Now, let's go back up. Now we're going to look at how many did 11 to 20. They can, oh, with 13. 13 is within 11 to 20 range. So it has to fit in there. Let's go. Roll it down. If this is just me, I'm seeing these blue dots up here and it's bothering me. Okay, here we go. Now, so let's look at this, and we're going to do this in red. Now we're looking for 11 to 20. 1, 2, 3. That covers 11 to 20. That covers 11 to 20. That covers 11 to 20. 11 to 20 covers it. Covers it. Covers it. Covers it. Covers it. Covers it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Let's go back down. I count 13 times someone did 11 to 20. And I'm going to write that down. 13, bam, and bam. And guess what 13 plus 7 is? 20. It covers your 20 data set, your points, your data set. It covers 20. You looked at 20 people, you got 20 people again. Now, so this is what you call a frequency table. So your assignment will be to do the independent practice of creating your own frequency tables, okay? You will put together the data. I will give you a table, and then you will make a frequency table from that. Tomorrow, we're going to look at something a little bit more interesting concerning frequency tables. We're going to look at relative frequency tables, okay? Which is just another, it branches off of this, okay? We're just adding another column to this type of table, okay? So remember, key things to remember. Here we go. Real fast. Let's go to this. Give it a title. Decide on your intervals, okay? If all your numbers go from, I want you to help me out with this. If my numbers go from 4 to 11, give me a range that you would like to cover, that you could break up evenly. If I got numbers 4, 5, I got an 8 there, I got a 9, I got 11. Me, myself, I would say, oh, you know what? 1 to 12 could be broken up evenly. I could say 1 to 20. 1 to 12 covers 12. I have a range of 12. And then I know that 12 could be divided by 2, 12 could be divided by 6, 12 could be divided. So I can make my width of my interval 6s. I'm going to cover 6 numbers, 1 to 6, 7 to 12. Or I'm going to say, oh, I'm going to look at 3s. So it'll be 12 divided by the width. I want my intervals to be widths of 3. That would mean 1 to 4, because 12 divided by 3 is 4. I'm going to have 4 intervals. So my widths will be 3. 1 to 3, 4 to 6, 7 to 9, and 10 to 12, okay? So are they even? Going by 10s on each interval? Going by 2s in each interval? Going by 3s in each interval? Do they cover the whole data? Do they cover all the data? Is there an overlap? You do not want to overlap. If you already looked at from 1 to 5, you cannot look at from 4 to 10. You did 1 to 5, so now you got to do 6 to 10. You can't do 1 to 5 and then do 4 to 10. Within that 4 to 10, you're covering the 4 and the 5, which you already did in 1 through 5, okay? So let me write down an example of overlap. I'm going to look at numbers 1 to 5. And then I say my next one is going to cover number 3 to 10. You see the overlap here? 1 to 5 covers 3, 4, and 5. So why are you looking at 3 to 10? Because within 3 to 10 is 3, 4, and 5. Plus 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. That's an overlap. So really, it should not be 3 to 10. It should be 6 to 10. There is no overlap there, and there is no gap. I went straight from 5 to 6. So let me write that down real fast. Let me give some examples of overlapping gaps, okay? Let me explain that to you. Let's give some overlap and some gaps, okay? So here's an example of a gap. You say, oh, Mr. Hunt, I'm going to look at 1 to 5. And you're supposed to say, it looks like your intervals are going to be a width of 5. You're supposed to say 6 to 10. But you say, nope, I'm not looking at 6 to 10. I'm going to go 8 to, 8 to 12. There's a gap, and the gap is right here. Bam. You did not look at 7. You did not look at 6. You did not look at 7. There's a gap right there, okay? Now, this is an example of a gap. You got to cover every number in your range. This is an example of a gap. Now, here's an example of an overlap. Well, I just gave you an example of overlap, but I'll give you another one. You look at 1 to 5, and then you say your next one is going to be 4 to 10. That's an overlap. This goes from 1 to 5, which covers 4. 1 to 5 covers 4 and 5. So why do you got to look at 4 through 10? You don't need to look at 4 and 10 here. You should start right here at 6. You already covered 4 and 5 over here, okay? So that was an example of overlap. Okay, cool. I hope you guys enjoy the lesson. I'm going to be changing up my lessons. So I want to give some shout outs tomorrow to on Wednesday on some people that are getting excellent scores on their IXL. We will be adding Khan's Academy to the equation because I like some of the things that Khan's Academy is doing with having you guys create tables and stuff like that. You'll be doing a whole bunch of tables, but statistics is really fun. I have a cousin right now that has a statistical background, and he is making about $120,000 a year. That's a lot of money in math, kids. A lot of money in mathematics. All right. God bless you. Have a good day. Okay. Be safe, guys.